Hi, this is my version of how to install Hyper-V with Windows Server 2003 on a Windows Server 2008 R2 system. First and foremost, once you've got it installed, please make sure that all of your Windows updates are complete. Just makes things smoother. Throughout this video, there will be some stopping and starting just because of server reboots. I will let you know. I will also try to give you an estimated time of how long each restart takes. The first and foremost, after you make sure that there are no more updates, you have to install the role of Hyper-V. To do this, click on Start. Just type in Server, and you want to go to Server Manager. Click on Server Manager. Go to Roles, click on Add Roles. This is the wizard screen. Click Next. Hyper-V, check it. Click Next. Just introductory, you can read it, it gives you some information. Click Next. The next thing is you want to choose the network card that you're going to be using. My particular server has 4 different network cards. Primary and 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to choose number 2 just because I want it to have a different internet port and a different IP address. I'm going to click Next, and I'm going to click Install. This usually takes just a matter of seconds, 15 to 30. And it requires a restart. So from here, I'm going to pause the recording and start back when the server is back up. Okay, now that the computer is back up, there will be a configuration wizard will pop back up, finishing the install of Hyper-V. Just let it do its thing. It'll take about another 10 to 15 seconds. When it's done, you will see this exact screen here, and just click Close. You'll have your role summary here to let you know that there's one event warning. Basically, it's just letting you know that Hyper-V has been installed and all of that wonderful stuff. So it's its version of the event window. All right, next to start it, we want to bring up the Hyper-V console. So just go to your Start menu, type in Hyper. Windows 2008 and 2012 was very intuitive. So what I like to do is I also like to right-click and pin it to the Start menu. You can also pin it to the taskbar if you like. So that way it's here or here, just for quick, easy access. When you start it, you have your basic Hyper-V manager. There isn't, you want a local computer, blah, blah, blah. This one, click OK. Now the Hyper-V is connected to this machine, so now you can create a new machine. New virtual machine. You're back to a virtual wizard. You want to name your machine. In this instance, I'm going to call mine Gast C, just because this is a production server that I am putting on. Store the virtual machine at a different place. Just let it store it in its default location. The amount of RAM that you're going to be using, I'm going to be using 4 gigs. You can change it up to the maximum of what the amount of RAM that you have. Any other video will tell you this the same. The virtual area connection I'm going to be using, I chose number 2 when I set this up, so virtual area connection 2. And then it's the hard drive size. I am going to choose 420 gigs just because I know what all is going on here. You can create it. You can use an existing virtual hard disk if you already have one. I'm using what's already on the machine. Then you get to install an operating system. Install an operating system later, or install it now using the boot CD. I have the Windows 2003 disk, so I'm going to choose this option. It's going to be on the physical D drive. If you actually have it on the computer itself, you can point it to that ISO without having to use the disk, which is a nice option. Click Next. The basic summary of memory is going to be 4 gigs. You're going to be using local area connection 2, the hard disk, and it's going to be installed from D. You click Finish. Okay, now that you have created the virtual machine, you want to put your Windows 2003 R2 disk in the disk drive. You can go ahead and connect to the virtual machine, and you see that it's turned off. Hit the start button either here or here. Either one will start the virtual machine. Please make sure that when you put the disk in that it is disk 1. And you will see that it will start installing the operating system. Not sure if you can actually see it, but once in here, you're kind of stuck in here, and you'll see at the bottom of the screen to release your mouse, press Control-Alt, left arrow. That's how you get it out from the virtual machine and back over to your desktop. We are going through the Windows setup right now. I am going to hit pause just for a moment until it gets to the next screen. Alright, it's been about 4 minutes since I hit pause. It's now to the point where it's finished loading the drivers, and it says setup is starting Windows. Basically now we're at a standard Windows installation. To set up Windows, press Enter. Is intended, blah, 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 blah. I agree, F8. The partition, there's 430,000 megs, which is the 430 gigs that I created. Hit Enter to install. Format using the NTFS. I do quick. You can use either one. Quick is it'll do it quicker. Formatting should take about 10 to 20 seconds. Installation is now checking drive C. Setup is now copying files. This process is going to probably take about 15 to 30 minutes. So once again, I'm going to hit pause because there's no need for you to see this unless you're just really bored, and then when you do it, you get to see it. Alright, I stepped away for a few minutes. The first screen you'll come to is your regional language options. Like I said, this is just like your basic installing. Type in your name and organization. And I'm going to hit pause for a second. The next screen you come to after you do your name and your organization name is going to be your product key. You will need a Windows 3 product key for this. I'm going to hit pause on this because I really don't want you to see my product key. So I'll be right back after this is in. After you put in your volume license key, it will ask you whether you're using a client access license or device license. I am using a device license. I chose that option. I click Next, and now it's back installing, copying the files over, installing Windows 2003 R2. At this point, it's saying 25 minutes. I'm going to hit pause again, and we'll continue when it finishes. Once the installation is done, which took about 20 minutes, I believe, the virtual machine will restart. It will bring back up the standard Control-Alt-Delete. To do Control-Alt-Delete in a virtual machine, you have a couple options. You can either press the Control-Alt-Delete button. You can go to Action and hit Control-Alt-Delete. Or if you see the little thing where it says Action Control-Alt-End while you're in here, if you hit Control-Alt-End on your keyboard, it acts as Control-Alt-Delete. Since I did not put a password in because I'm going to be changing it later. I don't know if you noticed that where it said that it was installing Internet Explorer 6.0. That's going to be a problem later, and I will show you how to fix it. The disk that I put in once, so disk number 2. Last time I did this, it didn't actually work right, but I'll try it again just for poops and grins. copying documents over for R2. Doesn't matter. I'm sure I'll get a lot of flack in the comments, but for the purposes of what we're doing, and I know that it doesn't matter because I've done 2 other machines before this one. The next thing to do is you will want to have Windows Server 2003 Service Pack 2. You want it, you need it. This virtual machine will not work correctly without it. What do I mean when I say that it will not work? You have no internet access. None. Zip, zilch. It requires, get out through all these screens, it's not there. You have to insert the integration service setup disk, which will then use the drivers and everything off of the main server. When you go to do it, you must upgrade to Service Pack 2 or later. This is in reference to Windows 2003. You can go to Microsoft, you can search for it, download it. I have the disk with exe already. You must have it, or this will not work. Media, DV drive, Capture D. Run Service Pack 2. The other thing is a must-have, and I will search for that while it's doing that, is Internet, if I can spell. For server 2003. R2. Straight from the Microsoft website. Please make sure you downloaded it from Microsoft and not from somewhere else. Windows Internet Explorer 8 for 2003. Download. It's a very small download. Show downloads. Folder. And then just copy to the desktop for later for easy access use. Alright, the installation of Service Pack 2 once again is going to take several minutes, so I'm going to hit pause. So once it's finished extracting, you will click Next for setup, agree, next, next. It's all default stuff. And here again, it's a sit and wait as it installs. I'm going to hit pause. Now that the installation of Service Pack 2 is completed, you will click Finish. And it should automatically restart this. Yep, there it goes. The nice thing about a virtual machine is the startup is very quick. You don't have to run through all the BIOS and the memory check and alrighty. Control End. Close out of the wizards and windows that come up. Control Alt left arrow. Come up to Action. Insert Integration Service Setup Disk. What this will do is it will install all the drivers from the main server into 2003, which will give you your network, your base drivers for everything. See, as you can see, it's finding drivers, it's finding the bus import. Network adapter. Now you see that the network is coming online. You must restart the system. Yes. Once again, you'll get to see how fast a local virtual machine restarts. And because it has drivers now, we have to rechange the settings for the desktop so that you can see it again. Alright, there's now internet. Yay, good old Microsoft. Which isn't going to work because I don't have anything plugged into the second NIC card. So let me change that real quick. Yeah, make sure you have the cable plugged in. And we have internet. Now see, it says here that you can download this. What I found is that it's trying to download the incorrect version. That's why you wanted this version. Well, somewhere along the way I've forgotten how to move this over there. I'm sure I'll get that in the comments as well as to how to do it. But for time's sake, I'm just going to go to Internet Explorer, even though it is the old version. Go to Google. Yes. Server 2003 Internet Explorer 8. You need to do this so that you can do the Windows updates. basically from here, once you install Internet Explorer 8, you can run all of your updates, and you are 100% good to go. Thank you.